There's so many things happening. So Corbyn, we think, Kevin, is going to stand against his own party.
That's right. Keir Starmer said he can't be a Labour candidate. Row over his response to an anti-Semitism report. So he is going to stand as an independent. It'll be a fascinating sideshow in the overall general election because Islington North, which is represented since 1983, is geographically very small. You'll know just about everybody who lives in that. There was a 26,000 majority last time. It's going to be difficult, actually, for Labour to win that against him, but it'll be a fascinating contest.
I'm gonna bet that he wins it. What do you think?
Yeah, I think he's going to do really well, considering the tone of London and specifically an area like Islington, where, as you said, Kevin, he's going to know everybody on the ground. He's going to have boots on the ground. As we know, he's a very activist politician.
What about the anti-Semitism thing? Well, that might count against him, but strangely, if it puts him on the side of Palestinians in Gaza, it might count for him.
Well, this is the thing. I think many people who support Corbyn massively disagree with the results of deciding whether he was anti-Semitic or not. But yeah, with the tone of London, with the issues in the Middle East, we know that overwhelmingly people want a ceasefire, and he's someone who, on a regular basis, also supports that.
I can't think of any precedent, Kevin or Lynn, of a leader being thrown out of their own party. Have I missed something?
No, that's right.
Would you say? I mean, Jeffrey Donaldson and the UUP. He switched. I don't know. That's different.
Not a main.
And kicked out.
Britain-wide political party.
Yeah.
He stayed in the Labour Party, although he'll be instantly disqualified, kicked out of Labour the moment he stands.
Yeah.
But they just wouldn't let him, have the whip.
I think this is going to go in his favour, though. Even now,
my 20p would say he'll win.
Yeah. I think my sense is I wouldn't like to be a Labour candidate in that seat. I think that's going to be a hard ask to go round Islington North campaigning against Corbyn. So in the many things going on, because the election has jumped a lot of people, it seems to have even jumped the Conservative Party itself, who are scrambling around for candidates and people resigning and stuff who intended to step down. So there's a whole load of people who are going to become Conservative MPs who might not be on the lists yet. There's also this thing with Nigel Farage. Let's have a look at him talking.
That I'm not going to stand as a candidate myself. Why? 6 weeks isn't long enough to fight a constituency seat and to campaign around the country. The bad news, Mr. Sunak, is I'll be out round the country, fighting, campaigning, appearing on media, supporting Richard Tice in absolutely every single way. Only reform, in my view, has the agenda that can reverse our national decline.
It would have been good to see him in the House of Commons, probably, wouldn't it? Because that's where politics ought to happen. Yeah. But what do you read into that, Kevin?
Well, he's lost 7 bids to get in the House of Commons. He didn't want an 8th. He's effectively admitting that. And I think it's going to be very difficult for Reform to win seats. Richard Tice, the leader, and Reform's not actually a conventional party, it's a company. But he was standing in Hartlepool, where he's had a house and an office, Richard Tice, Reform, for years. He's had an early chicken run and gone down to Boston and Skegness because he thinks he's got more chance of winning there against.
More chance than Hartlepool, yeah. So, where would Farage have stood? I wonder, something like Clacton, maybe.
I actually think this is for the best, if I'm honest with you. Again, in a weird way, I think he is the version of Corbyn, but on the other side. Brilliant activist, has a brilliant voice if you support, his ideologies. However, when it comes to actually being a politician, I don't think he would be very good anyway.
Well, I mean, I wonder whether he's a little bit relieved not to be campaigning in a seat, because what he doesn't want to do is not win it.
Well, he's put America first because he said he wants to focus on getting Trump.
He likes to be the big
US.
voice on the outskirts. Yeah. That's what he likes to do.
But he has been a hugely consequential politician, whether you love or loathe, support or oppose, because Brexit essentially driven by him and Boris Johnson.
Yeah, without him and Boris Johnson, it wouldn't have happened, no question. Kevin, the smoking, so number of policies, again, this is election related. Things the government was planning that aren't going to happen, smoking ban.
Yep, a smoking and vapor ban, renting reform, so you can't be kicked out if you're a private tenant as easy. The football regulator, they've all just gone. Because
crack down on cyclists, tragically won't happen.
Yeah, because he's called an early election, or an earlier election, he's kiboshed a lot of his own plans and legislation. You can say he'll bring him back after the election if he wins, but it does mean some things that people really wanted have gone.
Politics is so weird, isn't it? Because the smoking ban, they talked about, they announced it, they're really excited by it. He said it was a really big legacy thing. And it's not happening because why? Because they can't fit it into their time. But they fit it in the postmaster acquittals today, which is so important.
Yeah, it's because that was further advanced and it was actually simpler.
Yeah.
While the smoking ban, if you're 15, I think now, or under, you would never be able to buy cigarettes in your life, tightening up vaping. There's a lot of controversy around that.
Yeah.
As well.
I think if they don't do the postmaster and the blood scandal, that would be really catastrophic.
Yeah, for sure,
and tragic.
no question. Yeah.
So I think they need to put the things that they know are imminently important, as opposed to the smoking ban. It's neither here nor there. I don't think
what I don't understand, Kevin knows this. He's in the House of Commons every day. Why can't they just put it through in 10 minutes? They've still got a 45-seat majority, right?
Yeah, but you'd have to go through the House of Lords as well.
Right.
Don't forget them. And there's not agreement, so people would table amendments to keep voting against it. And
it's always going to take a week or two.
It will take a lot longer.
I mean, Parliament wraps up, I think it's next Thursday. But I was in yesterday, hardly any MPs. They've all scarpered, they're all campaigning. They're trying to...
As you say.
They're trying to...
Is it called the wash-up, that period?
They do call it.
And that's what... The wash-up meaning what you're doing, just the odds and ends?
That's how you get the legislation. You think, right, well, we'll have that one, we can clean it up, get it through. That one, no, we'll have to dump it. But most MPs, unless they're standing down, want to avoid a P45 from the electorate. So they've gone off.
I feel a bit sorry. There's a guy called... his name is Briggs, and he's the husband of Kim Briggs, who was hit by a cyclist going quite fast without brakes. And he's campaigned for ages to have, I may not agree with it, doesn't matter what I think, but he's campaigned for ages to have proper penalties for cyclists who kill. Ian Duncan Smith gets on board. There's a great big hoo-ha about it. It's all announced, it's going to happen. And just now, very quietly, it's just dumped.
I know.
And he must feel a bit used, actually.
He's right to feel aggrieved, but it's how the system works. And Rishi Sunak's decided to not wait until November, where he was planning it. It's why there's a lot of MPs. Labour MPs are quite happy because they look at the polls and think it's favourable to them. A lot of Conservative MPs are very angry because they fear they're going to get the sack early, or they had causes they wanted to push through that they can't now do.
So interesting. Election, and it's going to get more and more interesting as the weeks go on. Okay.